Hey, marijuana traders and investors, it's Rod with Pow Group coming at you live for another update for the cannabis sector. And welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. It is Tuesday, February 9th. And in today's video, the stock of the day we're going to discuss is Tilray. And we had news come out. So we'll go over this news and some other market moving news in the sector. Then we'll look at the Tilray stock and the Canadian and US sector, but we'll do a little bit of a deeper dive on Tilray. So before we do that, make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel. It shows me some support. So Tilray surges nearly 40% on a deal to import and distribute medical cannabis in the United Kingdom. So huge news, and stock reacted very, very positively after already being on an extended move that is just leaving investors' jaws dropped and just in awe. And it's pretty astonishing, this move that we're on. And Canopy Growth, I did a video on this earlier today, this morning, as that news came out. But essentially they had a big miss on EPS, but they grew on revenue and they beat by about 4 million, coming in at 153 million. So you can check out that video for a little bit more in-depth analysis on their earnings. And taking a look at the Green Thumb Industries announcement, they had an initial public offering in the US to raise 100 million, and one of which was an institutional investor. And you can see here from the CEO, he says, institutional investors are waking up to the great American cannabis growth story, said Green Thumb founder Ben Kovler. The investments reflects the very real interest, understanding, and momentum behind the potential 100 billion US cannabis opportunity that is happening right now. The industry needs meaningful access to capital to unleash the true economic and social growth potential. The next step would be the SAFE Act, which would allow uplisting like the Canadian counterparts. The US cannabis industry creates jobs, tax revenue, and has the opportunity to address head on some of the major injustices and inequities brought by the war on drugs. Mouthful. So you can read that out on your own time if you want to know a little bit more on that, but the shares were priced at 32.03. And we also had some news out on Hexo. So Hexo appointed yesterday a new manager of the US operations. So there's an article here talking about Hexo laying the groundwork for the US. And TAP is also due to report earnings this week as well. So that'll be interesting. But General Manager Bowman will be responsible for implementing all aspects of Hexo's operations in the US. And it's Charles Bowman, and joins the team with nearly 3 decades of experience to the Hexo USA team. So very, very cool and exciting future ahead for Hexo and the cannabis industry. So we'll take a look at Tilray. We have earnings coming up. Just mentioned that right out of the gate on March 22nd, looks like on TradingView. So in a little over a month, but we have a huge gap in the chart, huge volume. That is just absolutely massive volume. And EMA 12, we got very close to it, but it's been rock solid as support from all the way back here at the $7 range. And just hard to believe that we were just at $7 not that long ago after the merger, or before the merger, up over 500%. So I know I got a lot of people thinking I was crazy. Why was I buying Canadian cannabis? And the technicals never lie. So we could see a monthly bull cross of EMA 12 and 26. We already had it on the weekly. Canopy already had its monthly bull cross as well. So we'll look at, just bring that up real quick, actually, on the monthly time frame. So you can see here we had that bull cross. So maybe Tilray is going to follow in the footsteps, but Tilray is getting very extended. We're not overbought on the monthly yet. We are on the weekly. We're getting very overextended. We also have a little bit of resistance here that we pulled back on, which is at 46.25. After that, 50 psychological and 51.03. So we're getting overextended. We're getting close to that $50 psychological. We have resistances to be watching out for and seeing a huge gap up. We had two gap ups, and we had a slight daily bull flag here with barely any consolidation. So we are due. We know we're due, but tomorrow it's likely going to favor an inside bar. So if you are shorting tomorrow, just be aware that the range is most likely going to be between 45.49 and 34.26. All depends how we open. If we see a gap up open, obviously the daily bounce will continue. And if we see a gap down and we lose the low of today, that's going to indicate daily consolidation and likely a gap fill down here at 30.60. So congrats to the bulls. That is an impressive chart, and hourly uptrend going to be key here as well. It's a potential hourly bull flag into the end of the day. Could even zoom out to say the 2 hour. We have a couple of inside bars there that broke bearish, but again, it could be a 2 hour bull flag at this point. So we'll move on, take a look at the weekly. So $50 psychological is going to be extremely important resistance. I'd be looking to take profit there if it were me, but you can see the MACD stochastic are still very bullish. We're still well above the 10-week moving average, but it's all the way down now at 1687. So when this does pull back, just hopefully you have the stomach to hold through it, because it's easily possible that we see 5, 10, 20% of a pullback from here. We did get over the 100 weekly moving average though at 2096. And from crossing through that, we've essentially doubled, which is just mind blowing at this point. But very, very impressive, like I said, and huge gains. And I just want to shout out to bulls once again, because there was a lot of people who, were on the sidelines and were doubting me about Canadian LPs, and 500+% in a couple months is pretty darn good. So on the daily, we don't have the 50-day moving average all the way down until 1387. So in terms of moving averages, again, just be cautious, set stop losses, and if you are going to buy and hold, great. But if you're going to buy at these levels, personally, if you're buying at these levels or anytime in the last week or so, you need to be aware that nothing goes up forever. And if we do start to consolidate, you need to have a plan. Are you going to sit through prolonged weekly or monthly consolidation? Are you going to set a stop loss? Are you going to use support? So all things that you need to ask yourself before we get into the heat of the moment, before emotions start to take off and take over. So we did have the 20 crossing through the 50 weekly moving average here as well, giving us a nice signal. And the VWAP is down here at around 1430s. So again, no real nearby support. And if we just go by price action, like I said, the hourly chart is going to be very important. If we lose the hourly uptrend or we confirm an hourly downtrend, that's going to be a significant momentum shift. And EMA 12 has been holding here as well on the hourly and the daily time frame as well. As long as we maintain the daily uptrend, and EMA 12 has been rock solid, so that's going to be a nice visual guide as well, but likely would anticipate some pullback here into earnings, and likely going to potentially see a volume climax here today. So we'll look for a potential top here. This could be an upper wick, not exactly the blow off top we would expect, but upper wick of profit taking, potentially a volume climax. So just get your short positions queued tomorrow potentially, as we may see some weakness. Again, not calling any tops, but just it's time to start keeping that in the back of your head as a very likely possibility. So FIRE was up over 40%. OGI continuing its gains, just absolute monster move, up over 30% again today. SNDL up to 165, up almost 29%. APHA up over 25%. TGOD up about 20% today. They reported earnings and bulls reacting fairly well. CGC reacted well to the earnings, but most other cannabis companies, or if it would have been, maybe even 3 months ago or 6 months ago, if Canopy would have reported those earnings and that huge EPS miss, I think it would have been a completely different story. So that was for the bull list. On the bear list, there were none. We had all green across the Canadian landscape. So APHA, another potential short target tomorrow. Look for a potential volume climax. CGC, we tested 50 psychological today, hit 50.92 and started to pull back. But we didn't set a high amount of volume, the highest amount of volume here we've had a higher volume day here back on January 6th. So not seeing that. Cron, not seeing any volume climax there either. And Hexo tested the $10 psychological level today before pulling back. We hit 996. So that was obviously very, very strong psychological resistance. We pulled back, a little bit of an upper wick and a little bit of an indecision candle on the daily with a slight bearish lean. But we didn't end the day in a 5-minute downtrend. So hourly consolidation underway. We'll scout for an hourly high or low. EMA 12 right there as well at 931. So we'll be watching for some potential shifts in momentum going into tomorrow. We know that SPY is likely due for consolidation as well. So we'll see how that impacts the Canadian sector. So we'll wrap it up here with the US sector, very, very similar to SPY. So we'll keep this short. So we have a higher low every single candle from all the way back here at $40 and higher low for the last 9 trading days. So as soon as we lose the low, that's going to be step number 1 for the bears to break the previous low and break that pattern. And then the question will be, how much do we pull back from there? Do we test previous all-time highs and EMA 12s at 47.55, confirm old resistance is new support? Do we see more of a pullback and see EMA 26 and a potential equilibrium that plays out? So I'm still swinging some BAM. I have some KBEV, some Xena. Those were up huge today, up, I think, 30% at one point as well. And what else do I have? I'm swinging some Hexo and MSOS. And that's pretty much it. I think I got some Cresco in my no touch positions. But let's just take a look. TrueLeave was basically flat on the day. And that was notable. So let's take a look here. So TrueLeave, again, same as MSOS. We're just seeing higher lows every candle. And we'll take a look at some other tier 1 MSOs. So Kira, same deal. CL, same deal. And GTII, let's check in on that, up over 5%. We did see a upper wick of profit taking. So this could be another sign that we could potentially see some consolidation tomorrow, but the low of the day today is going to be extremely important tomorrow. So if we lose 44.20 today or tomorrow from the low of today, then daily consolidation will be underway. And this is pretty much the case for most names. We're just essentially following SPY at this point. So SPY is likely going to dictate direction. Of course, news that, is targeted, whether it be good or bad to the cannabis space, could affect it individually. So SPY is going up. We have bad news come out for the marijuana sector. Well, obviously, SPY can continue to go up while the cannabis sector goes down. But if everything is status quo and unchanged, then we would anticipate the US MSOs and the overall direction and sentiment to mirror that of the S&P 500. So we'll just keep an eye out for daily consolidation. And in summary, just make sure that you have a plan, get your stop losses out, determine whether or not you're going to sit through prolonged consolidation, whether it be daily consolidation, weekly consolidation, monthly consolidation. Are you holding for years out? You can trim, take partial profits and ride the rest. There's tons of different options. So again, if you're unsure or you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and you want people to bounce ideas off of, consider checking out pursuitofwealthgroup.com for a 1-week free trial, no credit card required. And that's all we do day in, day out is talk about stocks and charts. And we provide private videos for members as well. And if you have any tickers you want covered, we can do some quick analysis on what we would do in your situation. So thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth for a cannabis sector review. Make sure to smash the like, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.